Well, hey there, what's up? So, I want to talk about Sekiro real quick. Specifically, this bull. But first, some context on my journey so far. Please allow me this, as this will all make sense when we get back to the bull later. Well, I first journeyed from the temple, as one does, killing everything in my path, as one does. Anyway, long story short, I'm going through and killing generals, here or there. And since I already killed them, I don't have any footage, so here's a fat man instead. Then I get to the first boss fight, the ogre. And the fight fucking sucks. It was basically this the whole time. Urgh, I'm gonna grab you. Which he does, and you instantly die. So, first boss of the game, done and dusted. And it sucks, but the combat is still cool, so whatever. I continue some more. There is another general. I win. Then I get lost for some stupid reason. I see this note about some cave, but I can't find no cave. Now, I don't remember the details, but I go back to the sculptor, maybe a prosthetic upgrade, and I pray to the statue. Now I'm in a totally different area, in a different time. What? There was a fucking item there the whole time? Are you kidding me? Nah, just pellets. This memory is basically the Harada estate being attacked, and the cool little bro you served is being targeted. That's a good excuse for imminent murder. And I get all the way to the estate, and the door is locked. I know it isn't here, but it was, trust me. So I look all over the place for the goddamn key, and it turns out my daddy had it the whole time. Here. Now, I was distracted by all the flames and the Spider-Man indicator to notice, but I didn't find it, and I actually went back to the main area? Back in the main, is that even correct? Area. I eventually used God of War's teachings to find a path to go and encounter this thing. I can't beat this thing, but these caves suck in on themselves. I know there is a secret path to some bells, and I continue to explore the opposite direction when I encounter a crazy big snake. Now, I don't have any footage of the snake, but it was crazy, yo. A crazy epic boss fight, the likes of which don't exist. Yeah, the snake is more like a gimmick than a boss fight, but, you know, whatever. Cool set pieces are still cool. Anyway, moving on back to the estate, because I did go back into the memory, and I was stubborn and wanted to open that door and fight the boss. And note that I did feel that this area was meant to be a little later than when I was really doing it. But I didn't care. So I get to the fucking estate and open the door and blah 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 blah. And inside I was greeted by an old lady. So I killed her! Now, before you freak out, she was a fake old lady made out of particle effects. Her true form is actually an old lady. So I killed her! Now, it is important to note that this game is called Sekiro. The hardest From Software game, period. Yeah, that's right, From Software, the guys making all them Dark Souls, Bloodborns, and Elderly Rings. Yeah, this is the hardest game they have made, in my opinion, of course. So, let's get over how the fight actually went down, and I'm hoping you'll still stay with me since this will come back to the bull. Trust me on this. Anyway, the fight starts, and she wrecks my shit. And I'm like, wow, okay, time to do that again and again and again. So anyway, I just keep at it, fighting her more and more, feeling my skills rise with my confidence, and, well, I do kill her. But as I already spoiled in my stupid joke, she has a second phase. There's like ghosts and shit, and I'm like, I ain't falling for that, Skippy. Time to activate pussy training mode I learned from the ogre fight. Soon enough, the fight gets back to normal, we have our back and forth, and she fucking destroys me.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Well, enough time wasting. I do eventually defeat her, as you could tell by the room that wasn't locked. And at the end of it all, while I was fighting her for the first time, playing a Souls game, which I have played 1, 2, and 3, I said to myself, I don't think I could win this fight. Considering I was fighting her for an entire day, and yes, I could get to her second phase, but she would always win. Anyways, as I stated before, I felt that this boss was a little too early for me. That mixed in with the fact that when it comes to the combat, I find myself fighting fights that are too hard for me at the time. I'm the guy fighting boss type enemies 3 times my power level in Valhalla, as well as in God of War. The first Valkyrie I defeated was the Muspelheim, like the fire area one, which apparently is ranked top 3 as the hardest. That and the fact that even though I don't think my gaming skill is crazy amazing, I do have a stubborn pride in it. So I took a break from fighting her and returned the next day, where I did eventually win. Now, before we get to the bull, we have to continue on my personal journey with the game so far, but I've just streamlined this part. I travel some more, kill some more, and as general, blah blah blah, and I encountered the horseman. Now please ignore the ass whooping that I will be receiving in these clips, because when I fought this boss, he kinda felt like a joke to me. I beat him on my first try, and no, he didn't force me to activate that resurrect thing. This only confirmed to me that I did in fact fight Lady Butterfly a bit too early, but it also confirmed how when you perfect the combat this game demands of you, it feels pretty damn good. It felt like I literally got some power-up training from sticking through and fighting Lady Butterfly. And this wasn't just another endorphin rush or waves of jubilation where you accomplish something and feel hell of amazing, which I like to call the gamer's orgasm. It actually tied into the game. It was like I trained with Lady Butterfly for an entire day, and now I was able to wipe the floor with this guy. Even though in the footage I've captured it doesn't really seem like that at all. Maybe the game puts Wolf's status as what they were supposed to be when you encountered them the first time or something. Just please trust me, I did win first try. Now, I hope that you're still here and didn't click off the video in disappointment already, since I wasn't talking about the bull, which seems like the whole, thing with the thumbnail. But, well, we are finally here. I wanted to sort of go through and explain my journey through the game so far, as I want to give as much context as to why I hate this fucking bull, which, yes, I know that many people don't have the best interest in the bullfight, but most of the complaints really stop at, how the fight is annoying because you can't deflect, because if you deflect, you burn, and while it is justified, I wanted to talk about why this video was titled Sekiro, Why Did You Do This? I wanted to talk about a boss fight that takes the game's amazing combat and turns it into shit just based on design alone. So, feeling really good about myself and my skill at the game after defeating the old lady, dominating the Horsey man, making myself feel much more better, I continue on and encounter the Blazing Bull. Now, I only have 3 attempts of this fight, for obvious reasons, which will be explained later. Trust me on this. I just really hope I have one move he does, because there's one specific move he does that's really annoying, which I'll get into later on in the video. Now, my encounter with this bull kind of played out exactly how it was with my encounter with Lady Butterfly. Here's a boss that I fought over and over again for an entire day, until certain events just made me just fucking give up, quit. After resting, coming back the next day, I fight it, and then I was able to win, which in the bull case was on my third attempt. The only difference is that even though the Lady Butterfly fight is harder, I had much more fun with it. When I finally defeated this thing, I was just like, finally, time to move on. And this really sucks. And it was at this moment I knew I had to make a video, even if barely anybody watches it. Now remember that I stated that in my opinion, Sekiro is the hardest game From Software has ever made. I have heard things about Elden Ring's endgame, but unlike that game and the other Souls and Borns games, you can't just level through something in Sekiro. I often joke that Dark Souls is the best game at tricking you into thinking that it's hard. In those games, what is stopping you from leveling your vitality attribute until the health bar spans 5 screens? Boredom, I guess? Now, what's stopping you from having a crazy long health bar in Sekiro? Combat. You know those generals I keep talking about? You have to defeat them to gain a prayer bead. And before you say, oh, but you can find beads by exploring as well. Yeah, well, one, they are well hidden, and you're going to be looting a bunch of them. And 2, you need 4 beads to upgrade your health. So, like it or not, you have to defeat some generals. If you want some upgraded health, the way Sekiro works, you want to get powerful? Respect the combat. Same thing with strength. Unlike downing souls or blood or whatever into strength and dexterity, in Sekiro you have to defeat main bosses. In other words, you want to get stronger? Respect the combat. And then the game throws the ball at you. Now mind you, here I am, right? I already defeated 3 bosses beforehand. The Ogre, Lady Butterfly, and the Horsey Man. I went against one of them when I fought them a little earlier than I should have, or at least I think that is the case. And now I have this bull, and it's making me feel like a complete idiot. Why? Because this bull doesn't respect Sekiro's combat. Because I'm a broken record, Sekiro is the hardest game, blah blah. And whether or not you agree with that, it is the only From Software game that I am aware of that allows any sort of training mode. The only problem is that this training mode is against a human. The game doesn't train against animals. So with the bull, it throws away everything I learned and was taught by the game. It's like that fucking annoying spirit in Doom Eternal that everyone likes for some stupid fucking reason. The game teaches me all about weak points and grenades and always on the move, and just for the spirit to come in and say, fuck you, the demon I'm possessing, you can't break the weak points. Using a freeze grenade to stop me or get some extra damage? Nope, I don't freeze. Trying to use your movement? Motherfucker, I am fast as shit now. And don't fucking dare tell me that good old Yogurt Martini actually intended Yeet Hooking to be part of the game, considering that there's a chance only PC players could do that shit. Huh. Wolf can yeet himself around. Apparently he can hook to enemies, but I can't do it even though I purchased the skill. Clearly a great investment. Anyway, the bull, holy shit, can I talk about this goddamn thing already? So, the obvious thing is obvious, obviously, and that's, as I already said before, you can't really block or try to deflect the bull because fire damage causes burn, blah 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 blah. I hate that, everyone hates it, yada yada. So pretty much at the good old ogre fight, you'll pretty much find yourself trying to run around and, you know, play like a bitch. Now, the ogre fight is an awful fight as well, as I already mentioned. But to give credit where credit is due, at least the ogre does only grab moves. Therefore, the game lets you know that something is about to happen. The bull is the exact opposite. It only has one awful attack to look out for. Now, after hearing that, one would give a sigh of relief. But oh no. You see, the attack I'm talking about is the one where the bull lowers its head and does a charge forward. Now, why does this attack suck shit? It seems like a normal attack you would put for a bull. Well, little Jim, it makes the fight bullshit to learn, as this attack is harder to read than one would think. You see, when the bull does this attack, it is when he's the most open to being attacked after it's done. He will either perform the charge move and then trip over his own face, or he will perform the charge move and simply just turn around. There's even some times where he starts doing that scraping hooves on the ground animal thing, but yet again, allowing for an opening. Or he could look like he's going to do the charge move, but instead he performs a headbutt, so that's cool. Or he does a charge move, but then continues on and does some crazy fucking combo trot thing. Or the shitty charge move, and then he does the fucking charge move again, chaining them together. Now, to add on to the fact that I believe that the charge move is the most open move the bull has, you can get Wolf to do a follow-up thrust attack, which has a chance to stagger the bull. A chance. There is also a chance that the bull would just shrug the attack off and hit you instead. So, riddle me this, Batman. How was one supposed to fight something that you can't just block through because, poise break, and even if you can deflect, you're gonna get burned, and the only move that is open for an attack is not open for an attack except when it is opened maybe sometimes. What the fuck? Which leads to just throwing shurikens at the fucking thing. And while I do want to make Itachi proud of me, I also want to fight this thing, not use it as a glorified target practice. At the end of the day, this bullfight could have worked. Now look, I don't mind the switch up of how I have to handle the animal fights, considering that Wolf is a trained shinobi and not a hunter, so fighting people should feel better than fighting creatures. In fact, I was even throwing around crazy ideas like maybe I use a wall jump and I avoid a charge and the bull will stun himself, which of course I didn't never try, but I was still thinking outside the box, and that's pretty cool, even if there's a chance that probably wouldn't have worked anyway. Which leads me to playing game director for a moment here, and I've actually wanted to make clips before showcasing how I would direct the game, considering that my dream job is to be a game developer. So, the way the bullfight would work if I was in charge of directing is as follows. 1. Play into the whole bull thing. If we have Wolf block and stay still more, then the bull will be less aggressive. 2. The charge attack should have a much better readable animation after it's finished. For example, if we are close to the bull, when the move is completed, he tries to turn around quicker to face us, knocking himself off balance. And 3. The arena should have fire placed around it, instead of the bull being on fire from the start. That way, if the bull charges and crashes into something that is burning, either for a long time, short time, or however much it is, he will be on fire. Now since he's on fire, he'll be more aggressive because he's burning, but since there's black smoke in his face, he won't be able to actually see very well, kind of making it more sporadic, which could make things easier or maybe even harder. So this way, the fight is more controlled through the way you move Wolf, how close you are, how far you are, and even have some environmental awareness. This fight, in my opinion, would go from feeling like annoying bullshit to now being completely under my control. Allow me to control the fight, and done. It will just feel better. The bull can even still have all of those moves, even with these changes. I will also say that after going back and watching the clips, it is pretty apparent that the game wants you to get close and personal with the bull, just like the horseman. But with that stupid charge move of his, it is hard to predict what the bull will do, and even if you do stay in close, the bull itself will basically increase the distance between you two to perform the fucking charge move. Now, maybe I'm full of shit and these changes wouldn't make a lick of difference, and maybe animal fights in Sekiro just suck the big dongs. Well, where does that leave us in this video? But wait a minute, the headless. What about the headless? You just glance over that shit. That seemed a little bit more fucking ridiculous than the bullfight. It's like, the bull has a charge move, but the headless has that insta-kill back move. With fear build-up, it kills you in 3 hits. Yeah, but the thing is, I think the headless is like the fucking ghost from Dark Souls. I think I'm required to have an item. And the bull is a mandatory fucking fight. I could avoid the headless if I wanted to, which I did. Even though I was already spoiled and I know that there is some great ape I will have to fight eventually, I say this leaves us in a much more positive light. Now, of course, I haven't fought the oversized monkey yet, obviously, but that doesn't really matter. Because when I was working on this bit, getting the clips and writing the thing, yada yada yada, right? I happened to also come across a video that I didn't watch, because of course I didn't, about Sekiro, which was titled, Sekiro is a perfectly balanced game. And I truly agree with this. Yes, the yoga fight could have been better since this is the first boss fight, but I've always believed that it's not about a great first impression, but a great lasting impression. Yes, the bull made me want to practice ninjutsu on my nut butter. And yes, maybe the great ape is a fight that's so bad that I have to work on another video complaining about the combat in a game that I think has some of the best combat. I would honestly not hesitate to give Sekiro 3rd place for game with best combat in it, with second place being God of War 3, and number 1 being Kingdom Hearts 2. But all that doesn't matter because I have good old Lady Butterfly. Even if the shitty fights are doubled, the game has 2 ogres, 2 bullshits, and maybe 2 apes depending on whether or not that fight's gonna suck. This game gave me the 1 butterfly, and this fight is just so fucking good that it is one of the cool reasons why I gave Sekiro that 3rd place. Now, for those who've never played Sekiro, you could get fooled by this fight by making it seem that it's boring. You're probably gonna be like, bro, like the game's pretty much playing itself. Like, you attack, she deflects, she attacks, you deflect, back and forth to back. And the thing about this fight, why this fight is so good, it's hard to describe through a video. It's only through actually playing the game. The best I can try to explain it is it's almost like a martial arts movie where you could watch those movies, right, and watch how the main character fights, and there's this back and forth, right, like you go back and forth and exchange, there's that tempo, but then the main character has to get the upper hand or has a way to control the fight. Like above all else, like they're the ones controlling the fight. Like watch all the fucking badass Ip-Mans in those movies, like that's the thing, and that's the thing that makes the Lady Butterfly fight so fucking cool. It's literally like a martial arts movie fight in a video game. Which leads me to this weird conundrum. I will stand by what I said on Sekiro being the hardest game in From Software's catalog. So if you were ever interested in playing one of their games, but the whole stigma of them being too hard kind of intimidated you, then it's pretty apparent that I can't recommend Sekiro to you. And this sucks, since so far this is looking like my favorite game From Software has made so far. That is why I love the Lady Butterfly fight so much. I am in control of this fight. I keep close to her since she's a ranged fighter, but for the second phase, she does get a little bit more aggressive, and her shuriken attacks now have these butterfly effects which deal damage even though you're blocking them. Now, not only do I have to incorporate proper dodging to avoid any damage from the butterflies, but as well as keeping proper distance. Like I said, she does get a little bit more aggressive here. I suppose it all goes back to Dark Souls. There was this saying, almost like a code that is bestowed to every new player: get good. Now I'm sure that this statement is going to be perceived as a negative thing. Like, here I am asking for help and these douchebags just told me to fuck off. The thing about that good saying is at first it wasn't meant to be taken in a negative way. And anybody who experienced what I'm about to say will agree. Dark Souls is that game that through combat, level design, and storytelling doesn't hold your hand. The game wants you to overcome all of the challenges that it will throw at you, and if people are holding your hand, then that fact is now lost. You won't experience the type of feeling the game wants. This is the game that is so vague with the storytelling and what you're even doing in the world that if you didn't have those moments where you wanted to beat the boss or you wanted to explore, then you would honestly feel like there's no reason to even play the fucking game. Why bother? Which is crazy to think that Dark Souls actually tied that to the gameplay, where you might be the chosen undead. No, are you? Well, go, quest, and find out. Keep pushing forward. Or, lose your purpose and become a hollow. And to be frank, Dark Souls, when it all clicks, when you finally understand this, as weird as it is, it's pretty life-changing. Yeah, Demon Souls was made first, but there's a reason why Dark Souls blew up. It's the reason why years later people got the Elden Ring game they claim as a masterpiece. So, where am I even going with all this? Well, Sekiro embraces that get good mentality to me. And if you're someone out there, whether or not you have played Dark Souls and understand that bracing the challenge is one of the main driving points, or just someone that wants a challenging game without any bullshit getting in the way, like crazy stat upgrading, without ever second guessing yourself that it was your skills that won, then by all means, play this game. And to be honest, I don't really have some cool or clever way to end this, as it was just going to be complaining about the bullfight, which turned into much more about the way Sekiro plays and the combat as a whole. So, to leave it on a positive note, in a video, shitting on a boss fight, I guess enjoy watching one of the best fights in the game. Take care.